Stop everything and confront this cold, immutable reality. The single greatest threat to your future is not an external competitor, not market failure, and not even overt betrayal. The greatest threat is the structural weakness you allow into your immediate circle. Imagine your ambition, your focus, and your energy as high-value resources. Every day, the individuals closest to you are either adding to that reserve or systematically draining it. The hidden cost of maintaining weak relationships, the constant emotional neediness, the gossip, the persistent lack of commitment, is a contagious psychological disease that spreads its toxicity, slows your momentum, and subtly compromises your strategic judgment. This is the danger of contagion. You may be disciplined, you may be driven, but if the 5 people closest to you are lazy, fearful, and perpetually seeking comfort, their reality will inevitably become your reality. Their weaknesses are not contained. They leak into your boundaries, erode your focus, and invite external adversaries to see you as vulnerable by association. Niccolo Machiavelli, the master of analyzing successful leadership, defined the non-negotiable rule for strategic security centuries ago. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. This is not a casual observation. It is a profound strategic mandate. Your environment, the allies, subordinates, and friends you permit into your inner circle, is the single most direct reflection and predictor of your own capability and eventual outcome. If you tolerate incompetence, it suggests you are incompetent. If you are surrounded by complainers, it suggests you are a complainer. The people around you function as a direct, visible metric of your own standards. Today, we are initiating the Silent Cull. You will learn the precise techniques to surgically identify the hidden sources of weakness, the takers, the doubters, and the emotional anchors, and how to eliminate them non-emotionally before their contagion destroys your ambition. Your inner circle must transform from a liability of shared weakness into a fortified structure of mutual strategic strength. The time for sentimentality is over. The time for structural optimization is now. Drop this affirmation in the comments and solidify your commitment. I optimize my circle. I eliminate the leak. Number 1. Identifying the leaks. The first non-negotiable law in executing the Silent Cull is to develop the surgical vision required to identify and categorize the psychological weaknesses you have allowed to contaminate your inner circle. Your goal is structural optimization, and you cannot fortify your position until you precisely name the destructive forces working against your ascent. Most men tolerate toxic relationships not out of loyalty, but out of a paralyzing adherence to emotional inertia. They maintain ties with individuals who actively hurt their momentum because they cling to an ancient self-sabotaging impulse. Machiavelli identified the root of this inaction. Men willingly believe what they wish to believe. They wish to believe their cousin will finally change. They wish to believe their friend is only temporarily struggling, and they wish to believe their endless generosity will eventually be repaid. This hope is a comfortable delusion that keeps them static, preventing the painful but necessary confrontation with reality. This law requires you to reject that comforting lie and classify the 3 lethal categories of weakness that must be addressed: the takers, the doubters, and the drifters. Category 1. The takers. The takers are the most visible threat to your portfolio of power. These individuals operate as resource sponges, perpetually extracting your most valuable, finite assets, time, energy, and financial capital, without any intention of reciprocal investment. They are defined by their chronic, one-sided need. When you are strong, they see a source of supply. When you are weak, they see an opportunity for emotional venting. Their presence in your life is a net drain on your strategic ambition. Consider the perpetual time thief. This is the colleague who always asks for a quick 5 minutes that reliably consumes an hour of your prime working time, or the friend who initiates contact only when they need a favor, always expressing surprise when you enforce a boundary. The consequence of tolerating the taker is insidious. They erode your strategic capacity. You may not notice the loss of 1 hour a day, but over a year, that is weeks of lost time that should have been spent building your own fortress. Category 2. The doubters. The doubters are the most dangerous psychological threat because their assault is not physical or financial. It is spiritual. They are masters of corrosive cynicism, masking their own envy and fear as realism or concern. They constantly question your bold moves, minimize your achievements, and remind you of every potential failure. Their primary function is to lower the ceiling of your ambition to match the limitations of their own. Imagine sharing a new, high-risk business concept with a doubter. Their immediate response is not supportive inquiry, but a litany of risks. That seems too difficult. Are you sure you're qualified? Or remember what happened to that other guy? They flood your mental environment with noise designed to validate their own cautious, stagnant life choices. The consequence is clear. They compromise your psychological conviction. Every time you listen to the doubter, you allow them to plant a seed of hesitation in your mind, slowing your decisive action when speed is essential. Category 3. The drifters. The drifters are the individuals who possess no malice, but they lack all internal strategic direction. They are the constant procrastinators, the men without a plan, and the individuals who rely entirely on external motivation. They are a direct threat to your forward momentum because their stasis creates psychological gravity. Ambition is contagious, but unfortunately, so is lethargy. The drifter is the friend who is always going to start the book next month, or the ally who consistently misses deadlines and requires endless managerial support. Their lack of commitment forces you to expend energy covering for their deficits, wasting precious time and focus. Furthermore, their acceptance of mediocrity normalizes inaction, making it harder for you to maintain the ruthless discipline required for your own success. The consequence of tolerating the drifter is the slow, silent erosion of your standards and the normalization of stagnation. Your first strategic task is to cease the comfortable delusion. You must name the weaknesses you have allowed to enter your orbit. Only through precise identification can you initiate the necessary action to purge these forces and structurally optimize your life for unchallengeable power. Number 2. The law of contamination. The second law in executing the Silent Cull demands that you internalize the chilling reality of the law of contamination. Weakness is not a contained flaw. It is a contagious psychological disease that actively erodes the structure of your power and compromises your strategic position. You must understand that every individual in your inner circle who fails to master themselves, who succumbs to chronic fear, financial irresponsibility, or emotional volatility, is leaking that weakness directly into your life. Machiavelli defined the inevitable endpoint for those who tolerate this. He who is not master of himself will always be a servant of others. The strategic consequence of this law is absolute. If you choose to sustain relationships with individuals who are slaves to their own weaknesses, you are, by association and psychological proximity, choosing a form of servitude yourself. The mechanism of contagion. Psychological leakage. Contamination operates through two powerful, insidious mechanisms. First, emotional contagion. Your mental energy and focus are highly sensitive. When you routinely associate with a doubter, their pervasive negativity, cynicism, and structural fear do not simply exist in a vacuum. They leak directly into your mental space. This forces you to expend precious energy resisting their corrosive thought patterns, diverting resources away from your own creative and strategic execution. Their emotional drama becomes an unnecessary, high-maintenance burden that slows your entire momentum. Second, normalization of mediocrity. Your habits are constantly calibrated against your environment. If you surround yourself with drifters and procrastinators, their acceptance of low standards quickly becomes the new, dangerous normal for you. Your high discipline appears extreme and exhausting, and your mind, seeking the path of least resistance, begins to adopt their bad habits. Their chronic excuses and lack of action legitimize your own potential laziness, leading to a silent, slow erosion of your non-negotiable standards. You cease operating at the level of excellence required for your ambition. Consider the quantifiable cost of tolerating these psychological liabilities. The financial contagion. You have a taker in your circle who chronically needs loans, needs you to pay bills, or needs your free time for their messy problems. You spend hours managing their crises. The cost is not just the lost time. It is the psychological drag of worrying about their instability, making you less capable of focusing on your own scalable investments. You are financially and emotionally tethered to their failure. The contamination of will. You have a bold, necessary, strategic vision. The doubter constantly questions its feasibility. You spend hours debating them, trying to justify your move. This effort, instead of being spent on execution, is spent neutralizing internal doubt planted by an external, irrelevant source. Their fear has effectively slowed down your decisive action, which is often the key to winning. The law of contamination dictates a clear-cut loss principle. The cost of maintaining a relationship with a destabilizing force is always greater than the pain of immediate severance. You cannot negotiate with contagion. You cannot talk down mediocrity. You must initiate the surgical cut to preserve your structural integrity and ensure the integrity of your strategic thought process. Your self-mastery, ability to command yourself and achieve your goals is directly proportional to the strength of the company you keep. Purge the weak, the fearful, and the chaotic elements, not out of malice, but out of strategic necessity. Your strength demands an environment that supports, challenges, and mirrors that very strength. Number 3, the principle of isolation. The third law in executing the Silent Cull is the active deployment of the principle of isolation, or strategic absence. This is not a form of passive retreat. It is a surgical power move that utilizes physical and informational distance to ruthlessly test the loyalty and enforce the non-negotiable standards of your inner circle. The majority, fearing loneliness, remain perpetually available, thereby devaluing their own presence. You must learn to disappear because absence is the crucible that reveals genuine alliance. You must understand the psychological function of the void. When you are constantly present, always available, and openly sharing every detail, your environment takes you for granted. Your resources become common, and your boundaries blur. Your immediate goal is to replace the psychological dynamic of hope with the strategic weight of fear. Machiavelli understood the superior motivator. Men shrink less from offending one who makes them fear than one who makes them hope. In this context, when you are perpetually available, you instill hope in others. The hope that they can continue to take your time, disregard your standards, and rely on you without consequences. Strategic absence, however, instills the necessary fear. The fear of permanent loss of access to your competence, your resources, and your influence. This fear compels immediate respect and behavioral correction in a way that politeness never can. Mechanism 1. The loyalty crucible. Strategic isolation forces your network into the loyalty crucible, a scenario where they must reveal their true, underlying motives. Who pursues? When you deliberately become quiet, unresponsive, and temporarily unavailable, You immediately filter out the superficial associates and the drifters who rely on your energy to sustain their momentum. The only people who remain, and the only people who make an effort to reach out and re-establish connection, are those who possess a genuine, structural valuation of your influence. Who complains? Pay acute attention to the reactions. The true takers will complain bitterly to others about your sudden absence, exposing their toxic reliance. The loyal allies, meanwhile, will quietly check in with respect, showing they value you, not just your immediate utility. Distance filters loyalty faster and more reliably than any amount of conversation or false proximity ever could. Mechanism 2. Informational isolation. The principle of isolation must be enforced on an informational level as well. You cannot afford the strategic leak. Your allies and subordinates need to know enough to execute their assigned tasks, but they must never possess the complete, overarching strategic map. By restricting the flow of sensitive data, your ultimate goal, your full resource allocation, or your long-term contingency plans, you achieve two critical outcomes. Security. You prevent accidental or malicious betrayal, as they cannot compromise a plan they do not fully comprehend. Leverage. You retain the authority of synthesis. Only you hold the crucial pieces necessary to dictate the final strategic move, ensuring you remain the indispensable commander. Consider a scenario where you have a colleague who constantly wastes your time with social chatter and low-value requests. The weak individual continues to engage, hoping the colleague will eventually respect their time. The noise and distraction continue unabated. The strategic individual do not confront them. Instead, you immediately implement informational and physical distance. You reply to their messages with a delay. You decline unnecessary lunch invitations, and when they approach your desk, you greet them warmly, but immediately pivot to a non-negotiable question about work. I have exactly 3 minutes before my next critical task. What is the single most important metric we need to discuss? You deny them the time, attention, and conversational ease they crave, forcing them to internalize the fact that your presence is a resource that must be earned and respected. By mastering strategic absence, you force your entire environment to internalize your high value, making your return to full presence a powerful, deliberate act of command. Number 4. The strategic audit. The fourth law in executing the Silent Cull demands that you treat your inner circle not as a sentimental refuge, but as a strategic portfolio, requiring meticulous, objective auditing. Your resources, your time, energy, and mental focus are finite and non-renewable assets. Therefore, every relationship consuming those assets must yield a demonstrable return or be immediately filed for severance. Your failure to audit these relationships is the most common form of self-sabotage, draining your ambition in silence. Machiavelli defined the irresistible force that governs all purposeful action. The desire to acquire is a natural and ordinary thing. Your ambition, your relentless drive for growth, is the most natural force you possess. Any relationship that actively impedes this primary drive must be viewed as a structural threat to your existence, and therefore must be eliminated. You must reject the emotional attachment to hope and familiarity, replacing it with objective metrics for retention. Most men fail this audit because they are psychologically compromised by sentiment. They allow familiar relationships to persist based on past history, fear of loneliness, or the comforting but false belief that their weak ties will eventually change. This subjective, warm thinking guarantees stagnation. The strategic mind must introduce cold, measurable criteria to determine who remains in proximity to your power. We define 3 essential metrics that quantify a relationship's true strategic value. Metric 1. The results. Metric. This metric assesses the individual's contribution to verifiable external outcomes. It is the clearest measure of utility. You must ask, does this person consistently contribute to a positive, measurable outcome in my life? This is not just financial. It includes mutual professional advancement, timely execution, and reliable follow-through. You maintain an alliance with a colleague who is charming, but perpetually fails to meet deadlines or execute tasks correctly. They offer endless excuses. Their intentions are positive, but their results are negative, forcing you to expend energy covering for them. This relationship is a net drain on your productivity and must be severely limited or cut, regardless of past history. Metric 2. The energy metric. This metric is a measure of psychological ROI. You must ask, does interaction with this person leave me feeling focused and energized, or mentally drained and resentful? This metric targets the takers, the chronic complainers, the drama generators, and the emotionally needy who view you as a free therapist or dumping ground. You spend an hour with a friend who talks relentlessly about their personal crises, but never asks about your strategic goals. While you feel temporarily good for helping, the objective result is mental exhaustion. You have spent non-renewable focus resisting their negativity. This psychic burden slows your momentum and must be purged, as it directly compromises your ability to execute high-level thought. Metric 3. The alignment metric. This metric assesses philosophical compatibility. You must ask, does this person's general outlook, ambition, and core values align with my own pursuit of excellence? This filters out the doubters, the cynics who mask envy as realism. Their presence creates resistance against your bold vision, forcing you to waste time defending your ambition instead of executing it. A family member constantly minimizes your career risk, urging you to take the safe, predictable path. Their advice is rooted in their own fear, which directly conflicts with your primary drive for sovereignty and growth. Tolerating their consistent doubt contaminates your conviction. The relationship must be restructured to enforce strict boundaries around career discussions. The final step is to implement the audit protocol. Any relationship that consistently fails two or more of these objective metrics must be filed for immediate severance or severe limitation. This decision is made through cold, measurable calculation, devoid of emotional attachment to past inertia. You are preserving the scarcity of your resources and ensuring that your inner circle is a fortress built of individuals who actively support, challenge, and mirror the strength you require to command your throne. Number 5. The surgical cut. The fifth law in executing the Silent Cull is the discipline of the surgical cut. This is the deliberate, non-emotional act of severing ties with individuals who have failed your strategic audit, eliminating the dead weight that is actively draining your resources and compromising your ascent. Most men, paralyzed by empathy or fear of confrontation, allow detrimental relationships to linger, hoping they will naturally dissolve. This gradual decay is a catastrophic strategic error. Lingering relationships hemorrhage energy. The surgical cut preserves it. You must understand the psychological danger of dragging out necessary severances. When you initiate a slow fade-out, avoiding calls, giving vague excuses, or showing inconsistent presence, you provoke maximum resentment over maximum time. This gives the weak tie time to plot, gather allies, and leak negative narratives about you. Machiavelli defined the necessary strategic approach to painful actions. Severities should be dealt out all at once so that their suddenness may give less offense. Applied to your inner circle, this means the sudden clean break is less psychologically damaging than a prolonged ambiguous decline. A quick, decisive cut leaves no room for debate, confrontation, or plotting. It communicates finality, not negotiation. The first mistake to avoid is confrontation. final emotional debate, here are all the reasons you failed my metrics, is a guarantee of drama and strategic leakage. The weak individual will not accept your logical severance. They will defend, project blame, and attempt to drag you into a vortex of emotional justification. You would be willingly inviting chaos into your structured retreat. The surgical cut is executed for self-preservation, not for resolution. The surgical protocol, the non-emotional cut, requires a specific protocol of action. Do not offer detailed explanations or justifications. A brief, professional, non-apologetic statement is sufficient. Our strategic paths no longer align, or I am focused elsewhere and will not be available for the foreseeable future. Block the ability for prolonged communication. Do not engage in follow-up arguments, texting, or meetings to talk it out. The decision is final and non-negotiable. When executing the cut, your body language must project absolute, unshakable calm. Your hands must be still, your voice low, and your eyes steady. This is a logistical change, not an emotional reaction. Replacement over void. Crucially, the cut must be followed immediately by the replacement strategy. You cannot simply leave a void in your social or professional structure. That empty space will attract the same kind of low-value energy you just purged. You must immediately fill the space left by the drifter, the taker, or the doubter with high-value, high-alignment assets. Consider a friend who is a chronic taker and constantly seeks emotional support that drains your focus. The weak exit. You slowly stop returning calls and feel guilty. Result: the taker sends aggressive texts, asking why you've changed, forcing a confrontation you have to manage. The surgical cut. You send one final, concise message. I am entering a period of strict professional focus and must eliminate all non-essential commitments to maintain my momentum. I wish you well, but my energy is closed. You then immediately focus that reclaimed energy into attracting a new, high-alignment mentor or strategic ally. The taker is purged quickly, and the space is immediately filled with a high-value asset, reinforcing your new, higher standard. The surgical cut is the final act of self-sovereignty. It is the discipline of strategic hygiene, ensuring that your valuable resources are protected from contamination and dedicated exclusively to the relentless pursuit of your throne. Number 6. The law of association. You have successfully executed the necessary defensive strategy of the Silent Cull by purging weakness from your ranks. The sixth law now mandates the strategic shift from defense to offense, transforming your inner circle into a powerful, leverage-generating asset. This is the law of association, and it dictates that you must deliberately attract high-value, powerful, and competent allies. Your goal is not simply to fill the empty spaces left by the weak. It is to create a magnetic field that naturally draws in individuals whose competence will multiply your own power exponentially. Machiavelli defined the ultimate form of security, a concept often misunderstood as sentimental. The best fortress is to be found in the love of the people who are indispensable. This love is not affection, it is structural reliance. It is the recognition that you possess something so critical, be it skill, connection, or foresight, that the cost of losing you far outweighs the cost of supporting you. Your most effective fortress is therefore built from high-value individuals who are strategically dependent on your continued success. You stop chasing connections. You become the central, indispensable asset that others must pursue. The conventional approach to networking, frantically chasing opportunities, attending every superficial event, and desperately seeking approval, is a sign of low leverage. This desperation repels high-value individuals as they are drawn to certainty, not neediness. The strategist rejects this failed model. You that must be earned. The 4 pillars of strategic attraction. To become this magnetic hub of power, you must master the 4 pillars of strategic attraction. Value creation. You must lead with quantifiable value, not empty requests. Before seeking an alliance, identify the unique gap you can fill for that high-value individual. Offer intelligence, perspective, access, or resources that are genuinely useful to their trajectory. You don't ask, "What can you do for me?" You lead with, "Here is how I can advance your immediate objective." Filtering for competence. You must apply the same ruthless standards to potential allies as you did when purging the weak. Seek out individuals defined by execution, discipline, and foresight. If your potential ally is a chronic victim or lacks internal drive, their talent is irrelevant. Their energy will still be a contaminant. Your standards must intimidate mediocrity. Strategic connection. Position yourself as the central, indispensable connector. By building bridges between capable people who did not know each other, you become the source of their combined success. People will share intelligence with you because they know you can turn it into leveraged opportunities for them. Your value is no longer linear, it is exponential. The projection of self-sufficiency. Maintain emotional immunity and never reveal vulnerability until absolute trust is proven. Competent people are drawn to unshakable anchors in a chaotic world. Your projected certainty, your willingness to walk away, signals that your partnership is a strategic choice, not an emotional necessity. Consider the scenario of seeking mentorship from a highly successful, powerful figure who has zero time for social pleasantries. The weak approach. You send a lengthy email praising their work and asking them to spare 30 minutes for coffee. Result? Ignored. You ask them to spend their scarcest resource for zero return. The strategic attraction. You spend weeks researching their current publicly stated professional challenges. You send a concise email or message stating, "I have developed a framework for optimizing problem X. I believe I can reduce your team's current friction in that area by 15%. I require 15 minutes of your attention to present the data. I expect no payment." The result? You offered immediate, quantifiable value tied to their current strategic needs. You demonstrated competence, respect for their time, and non-neediness. This is the magnetic force that compels the powerful to say yes. By meticulously implementing the law of association, you transform your network from a list of contacts into a dynamic portfolio of assets, ensuring your power is perpetually multiplying, even when you are absent. The strategic campaign is now complete. You have executed the Silent Cull and acquired the blueprint for transforming your social circle from a liability of shared weakness into a fortified structure of strategic strength. For the past moments, you have systematically abandoned the warm, comfortable delusion that relationships are governed by sentiment, replacing it with the cold, necessary discipline of structural integrity. The synthesis of structural security internalize the total scope of your transformation. You began by mastering Law 1, identifying the leaks, developing the surgical vision to categorize and spot the 3 forms of destructive influence: the takers, the doubters, and the drifters. This vital diagnostic capability prepared you for Law 2, the law of contamination, understanding why mediocrity is a contagious disease that must be purged before it erodes your own ambition and standards. You then moved to the offensive, utilizing Law 3, the principle of isolation, deliberately using physical and informational absence to test loyalty and enforce a higher standard of engagement. This strategic testing provided the data for Law 4, the strategic audit, where you developed objective, non-emotional metrics to determine who earned continued access to your scarce resources. You enforced this new standard through Law 5, The surgical cut, mastering the decisive, swift, and non-emotional execution of purging dead weight. Finally, you completed the fortress by implementing Law 6, the law of association, learning how to deliberately attract and build high-value, competent allies whose strength would multiply your own. You have successfully replaced the fatal flaw of sentimental attachment with the unassailable strength of strategic structure. Your security is now contingent not on hope, but on systematic design. You now possess the strategic capacity to manage your environment as a ruler manages his kingdom, ensuring the stability and competence of his court. Machiavelli warned, the first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. This remains your absolute metric. Your intelligence, competence, and potential are judged by the quality of the company you keep. The challenge is immediate and non-negotiable. Your environment will test your new standards instantly. Individuals accustomed to your previous compliance will try to reassert their weak influence. Your old passive programming will whisper doubts, urging you to accept the familiar comfort of low standards. You must deny them this leverage. The choice is stark. Continue tolerating structural weakness, the emotional leaks, the financial drains, the cynical resistance that drags you toward mediocrity, or commit to maintaining the optimized fortress. Your fortress must stand. It must be unchallengeable, built only with individuals who actively support your strength and mirror your ambition. Your failure to enforce this boundary is a direct vote against your own sovereign future. Make your commitment binding. Drop this final, irreversible affirmation into the comments. My fortress is optimized. My integrity is absolute.